Book of Psalm, chapter 55, verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai is his son who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami camp. And yes, the reason why I brought out the book of Psalm, chapter 55, verse 21, is that these American Edomites, along with these JJ, these 1948ers, these small hats, Amalek, which is one of the tribes of Esau Edom, all right, they have war in their heart, okay? So don't let this whole, peace deal, this whole, what they call right here, preliminary memorandum of understanding, between Babylon the Great in America, which is ran and governed by the Edomites, and of course the Persians, which are the modern day Iranians. Don't let this fool you, okay? All right? Because America, Babylon the Great, which is ran and governed by the biblical Edomites, which are the so-called white people today, okay? Along, all right, with them boys, all right, with them JJs, the 1948ers, them small hats, the least of the flock, okay? Amalek, which is a tribe, all right, one of the tribes from Esau Edom, all right, they have war in their heart, and they want to continue this war against Iran, all right? So this whole peace deal thing is a mirage. It's an illusion, all right? And it's really just to calm the markets down, okay? Because even look, when they have what they call a so-called 60-day period ceasefire to continue their intensive negotiations regarding Iran's nuclear program, okay? So again, nothing has changed. They're still talking about this stupid nuclear program, all right? And didn't they have a discussions about this nuclear program before them JJs and America attacked Iran and blew up a school full of children? Weren't they in the middle of negotiations, diplomacy? So this is all BS, okay? All right? And again, this is why I brought out Psalm chapter 55, verse 21, because, okay, they're preparing for war. They're preparing for an invasion, okay? This is from military.com, all right? 82nd Airborne deployment to the JJs went unannounced, meaning you have 82nd Airborne right now in the statehood of the JJs, in our homeland. It's our homeland. You imposters are, all right, have taken it for your own belly, but that's to your own demise, because the Lord clearly said, all right, that that land is going to be destroyed. It's going to be attacked, all right, and you people destroyed. That's what I meant to say, okay? Because the land is going to be there. It has to be cleansed, all right? But the Lord's going to light up a fire in that area, all right, and get rid of you imposters, all right? That's what this is all leading up to, okay? All right, so you have 82nd Airborne that's right now deployed to the statehood of the JJs, all right? And it was a leaked deployment order, all right? So somebody leaked it, all right? So you have division amongst the ranks, A leaked deployment order shows that troops went to the statehood of the JJs. A detail omitted from Pentagon announcements about a CENTCOM deployment. Right. So somebody, okay, either within the Pentagon or at CENTCOM, which CENTCOM is located at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa, all right, some officer who doesn't agree what's going on, all right, guarantee some high-ranking officer leaked this, all right, so you have division amongst the ranks, all right, because you have a lot of these officers that are not with this ongoing war, okay? They see that it doesn't benefit America, but guess what? All right, they don't want to lose their pay. They don't want to lose their livelihood. So what do? They just leak stuff out. Okay, I'm guaranteed they're all right. Whoever leaked this deployment order, all right, there is a huge hunt for their head. Okay, but yeah, so this goes to show you that the war is not over. All right, they have war in their heart. And I got to bring out this historical account because it's all about pattern recognition, brothers and sisters. It's all about understanding, all right, the mode of operation of Esau Edom, okay? He has to rule by the sword, all right? He can't have peace, all right? Now, when you go back to World War II, okay, pattern recognition, this is where the high IQ is at, all right? And we hear the Israelites, mainly at Great Millstone, because we're the only ones going into prophecy. We have the high IQ, okay? You Edomites, you so-called white people, okay? You have low IQ. You're a bunch of fucking idiots. So back during World War II, you had what's known as a division, and they're still operational today, known as the 101st Airborne, okay? And they were training to jump into Normandy, okay? Normandy, France, all right, which was being controlled by the Germans at this time, okay? The idea behind this war, all right, or this jump, was to jump behind enemy lines, all right, and capture the Germans' turrets, okay, that were stationed at the beachfront, all right, so that it would give the amphibious vehicles that were holding all these troops, all right, a more advantage to storm the beach, okay. And if you watch like Saving Private Ryan, okay, it goes into the whole what they call D-Day, all right. And then, of course, if you go to another HBO series called Band of Brothers, all right, it shows you the 101st Airborne Easy Company and what they did, all right, to jump behind enemy lines, all right, to capture the Germans' weapons, their high-power weapons at the beachfront, okay, because they jumped behind enemy lines. So it was basically, a hit from the front and from the back to take over Normandy, all right? Because the Germans had conquered all of France. So back to pattern recognition. The point is this. So I just gave you a little history, and it's good to learn this stuff because there's nothing new under the sun, all right? Esau's doing the same shit. He still thinks he's fighting a World War II type scenario. Meanwhile, Iran is in a World War III scenario with drones and ballistic missiles. That's why these soldiers are going to be, literally in the slaughterhouse, in a meat grinder, okay? So after they activated this 101st Airborne Division in September of 1943, a year later, the division of the 101st Airborne relocated to England to prepare for the Allied invasion of Europe. Now, does this not sound familiar? What's going on over here in the statehood of the JJs? The 82nd Airborne is being prepared to invade Iran, okay? And of course, there's rumors that they still want Carg Island, or they want the Iran's coastline where the Strait of Hormuz is at. Okay? So again, don't be falling for this bullshit, this whole peace thing. This is all lies, man. Again, let's read Psalms, because it goes back to the scripture. Psalm chapter 55, verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. You see? Oh, yeah, we're going to have a peace deal and a memorandum, and we're going to sign some type of deal at Switzerland. There's a 60-day ceasefire, to continue the ongoing discussions of the Iran's nuclear program. But again, there's war in their heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Right. And again, all right, why would Iran ever believe what America has to say after what they did, all right, after what America and them JJs did to them on February 28th, man? Blew up a whole school full of children, okay? And again, back to them boys. Them JJs, them 1948ers, them small hats, all right? Iran already set a condition, like, we're not going to go along with this so-called deal unless them JJs withdraw from Lebanon. You think they're going to do that? You think them JJs are going to leave Lebanon? Okay? And their JJs already openly saying when they're not going to do that. Okay? So, yeah. This war, all right, has just started. And I wouldn't be surprised within this 60-day period, there's some form of false flag that happens here, okay, in America. That's why there's reports. See, we hear the prophets of Yahweh Bashim Shai. We look at everything. That's our job as prophets, all right, to let you know what's going on before it happens, okay? Iran, cyber attack, okay? Iranian-linked threats actors, most notable to hacking group Handela, has launched a series of disruptive cyber operations against Western organizations and domestic targets. These incidents ranging from data breaches of U.S. water utilities to massive wiper, malware attacks on the healthcare tech companies are largely retaliatory response to ongoing geopolitical conflicts. So you have Iran attacking California's water service, okay? So that's very interesting. U.S. medical technology, U.S. energy and fuel, U.S. Okay, so all it takes is a cyber attack, and boom. All right. Oh, Iran didn't uphold their end of the bargain. They broke the deal. The war continues on. Okay. That's all they have to do. So, hey, we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. All right. Again, we are in the beginning of World War III. It is not going away. And these JJs, let me bring out the scripture. The least of the flock are the reason why that conflict with Iran is not going away. It's only going to get bigger and spicier. Okay? And Russia is going to get dragged right into it. Okay? They're already involved in it. They're supplying Iran. They're providing Iran with intelligence. Okay? But you're going to see Russian troops engage with American troops, all right, real soon. Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 20. Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord, Yahweh, that he have taken against Edom, and his purposes that he have proposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Right, and who's the least of the flock? These JJs, these 1948ers, these small hats. Okay? Amalek, which is a tribe from Esau, Edom. Okay? Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Right. And this is the will of the Lord. All right. The Lord wants this conflict, this war to continue on, to get bigger, to get more deadlier. All right. Because it's for prophecy's sake and the Lord's judgment and for our salvation. All right. So you don't want this war to die down. You want this war to continue to get more graphic and aggressive. And again, the facts are here. This war is not dying down. All right. This war, all right, is only begun. Let's go to Psalm chapter 28, verse 3. Draw me not away with the wicked and with the workers of iniquity, which speak peace to their neighbors. Right. Oh, there's some peace deal negotiation. What do they call it again? A preliminary memorandum of understanding. Look at this word salad, horse shit. Okay? Maybe, a simple Jake will hear this and be like, no, there's a peace deal. Everything's going to be cool. They're calling it a preliminary memorandum of understanding. They don't even know what the fuck this is. But they're just going to regurgitate what they heard on the news. Okay? All right? Because, simple as Jakes, all right? Well, again, simple as Jakes, they don't want the Lord to come. So they want everything to get better. They want peace, all right? And that goes to show you the bulk of our people are wicked, all right? They're not looking forward to the return of the Messiah, all right? Yahushua returns in the midst of World War III. So you should be looking forward to these conflicts to get bigger, all right? But that goes to show you, again, our people don't want the Messiah to return. They don't want Yahushua to return. They want to stay here in this prison, in this fucking cesspool of a hell, and all right, and just marinate in it. It's fucking ridiculous. So back to Psalm chapter 20 and verse 3. Draw me not away from the wicked. Draw me not away with the wicked and with the workers of iniquity, which speak peace to their neighbors, but mischief is in his heart. Right. And there's mischief in their hearts. Look, another article. U.S. won't soften military posture in the so-called Middle East despite Iranian agreement. Okay? The United States will maintain its currently military posture in the Middle East despite the electronic signing, whatever the fuck this is, of peace agreement between Washington and Tehran. This is all bullshit, man. Okay? The troops are still there. They're not going anywhere. Okay? Do you not know this man is the devil? All right? This is the devil. This is Nero. Mr. 47. Okay? He and Bibi are playing good guy, bad guy, cop. You ever heard that good cop, bad cop? All right, Trump is acting like he's in control. I told Bibi don't do this. And Bibi's like, nah, I want to continue the war, But they're all in cahoots with each other, man. Okay? Trump and Bibi the bomber. Okay? And this is the devil. But it's all good. It's what Trump's doing is necessary. So I'm with it. It's necessary. Keep doing what you're doing, Donnie. Okay? Because what you're doing is leading, all right, is forwarding the prophecies. Is forwarding, all right, what we want, the return of our Lord and Savior Yahushua, who the world English calls Jesus. 4. Give them according to their deeds and according to the wickedness of their endeavors. Give them after the work of their hands. Render to them their desert, right? Because ultimately, this is all going to blow up in their face, all right? There's going to be mass casualties, all right? Now, granted, 82nd Airborne, all right, they're pretty good, all right? And, yeah, they'll sack, either Karg Island or some territory from Iran. But to hold it, to contain it, to control it, nah. Okay? Because again, America is fighting a World War II type framework, while Iran is fighting a World War III type framework. Drones and ballistic missiles. That's why Iran, okay, has been able to dominate in this war. Okay? You even have the Brookings Institute declaring that. Psalm chapter 28 verse 5. Because they regard not the works of the Lord Yahweh, nor the operation of his hands, he shall destroy them and not build them up. Right? Because at the end of the day, this is the Lord setting them up for their judgment. Okay? They have to be judged for their wickedness. Okay? Against the children of Israel, the blasphemy against the Lord and his words. They destroy the earth. Look at the condition of the earth. All right? The food is defiled. The water is defiled. The air is defiled. Okay? Thanks to these Edomites, these so-called white people. So yeah, this is for them to get their judgment. And I'll close out with this one. 2nd Esdras chapter 16 verse 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Right, meaning death and destruction. All right? That's why in Revelation 11:14, the second woe is past. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly. World War III. We're here. Gird up yourself with cloths of sack and hair, bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand, right? Okay? So, hey, get ready to see boots on the ground. 82nd Airborne ain't just hanging around in the state of Israel, all right, because, they want to get religion. No. They're getting ready, all right, to drop into Iran, whether it be Karg Island or the coastline of Iran, where the Strait of Hormuz is located at. Okay, so don't get it twisted. All right, boots on the ground is coming. All right, and prepare for some form of false flag attack to give the narrative of why boots on the ground. Okay, but this is all leading to our salvation. That's the point. Okay, at the end of the day, this devil's going to be the devil. All right, as he was created to be. One more. This reminded me. One more. Okay. Proverbs 16, verse 4. The Lord Yahweh hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. Right, so the Lord created the wicked, which is Esau, Edom, where they want to call themselves American, so-called white, JJ, ish people, all right? They're still the wicked. And the Lord created them, all right, for the day of evil. All right, so what they're doing is all for the purpose, okay, and glorification of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, to show that his words are faithful and true and that the prophecies stand, okay? And again, what these devils are doing is necessary for our salvation. You got to look at it like that, okay? We need this to happen. We need these wars to get bigger and louder. And they are getting bigger and louder if you have eyes to see. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Hey, all right, just because they have this whole so-called peace deal, ceasefires for 60 days, all right, that's all smoke and mirrors. The war is, all right, still going to continue, and it's going to get even more spicier. Boots on the ground, all right? Airborne, okay? Infantry airborne. They're about to jump in, all right? And pattern recognition. This is the same scenario that they did in World War II. They used England, okay, as a launch pad, just like they're going to use the statehood of the JJs as a launch pad, okay? So with that, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And citation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep it the word, keep the faith, keep pushing, keep fighting, keep studying, pray without ceasing, pray for each other, pray for the apostle elders, all right? As they get up in age, pray for their health and longevity. All right, for the futures that are watching, keep studying when you pray. Pray, Chad, cover almost out of here. Shalom.